Hi everyone, it's Miriam Ortiz y Pino with More Than Organized. I'm a certified professional organizer and simplicity expert, and thanks for bearing with me. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties. First, the stream key wouldn't connect, and then the tags wouldn't go on, and I don't know, sometimes I am not very good with the technology. So, I just wanted to thank you all for staying longer, and one of these days we'll figure it out. I'm also trying to, let's see, let's go back to my page where I'll be able to see the comments eventually. But I'm very excited. This is the first time I actually got several questions via email when I sent out the email. So if you're not on my list yet, please go to morethanorganized.net and sign up to get on my newsletter list. That's where I send out all kinds of good information and resources, but it's also where I send out a reminder email to get questions. And once a month, on the second Thursday of the month, I come on and do a Facebook Live session and actually answer questions live. So it's kind of like an office hours situation. If you are here and you would like to be copied in on the questions or participate in a back and forth conversation, you can hop on and be part of the conversation. I'm making a quick adjustment here and pinning the old video and putting the new one up just so it's at the top for the conversation if anyone's ready to join in on that. But I did get a couple questions back and that's exciting because it's the first time I actually got the questions to the specific email I sent. And I want to thank you guys for that so much. So Karen and Sarah, thank you very much for the questions. And hopefully we'll get another one or two on here, although I think one of them is going to take me just a little bit of time to go with. So, all right, so that is set up so I can see when questions come in. And I'm going to go back over here so I'm not totally distracted. And, you know, even being an organizer, sometimes things don't work out great. So I'm going to do one more thing real quick. Start the recording so that the people over on YouTube can see it as well. Now that we're actually up and running, so bear with me. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to More Than Organized. This is the December Q&A session. I'm Miriam Ortiz y Pino, certified professional organizer and simplicity expert, and I'm very glad you're here joining us today. I want to make sure, if you are not yet on my email list, that you go over to morethanorganized.net and get on there. I send not too many emails, but I do send quite a few great resources. You can get access first off for any offers that I do make, and occasionally, a few times a year, I do send out some sales emails to drum up business, but that's what I'm here for, to make a living, so I can help you also make a difference, hopefully help you get organized and more productive in your own business so that you can get your stuff out into the world. So I know you understand that about the email, but there's lots and lots of good free advice and resources when you subscribe to my list. So I want to make sure you know morethanorganized.net is the place to go. A couple different opt-in offers that you have your choice of. There's free simple tips and there's the 1-minute mail solution kit, or you could go just directly onto the email list for the newsletter and to keep up to date with what I'm doing and offering. That's also where you will get once a month an email reminding you that there's questions that can be answered once a month on the second Thursday of the month, usually late afternoon, although I'm noticing in the winter the lighting is not as great in my spot, and so I may switch it to a little bit earlier in the day just so we end up with better video for people to refer back to. But thank you so much for showing up, and thanks to Karen and Sarah who actually sent in questions. So I'm going to start with those, and then we'll check in and see if any more came in on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at MOYPMTO. And so you can remember that. It's Miriam Ortiz y Pino, More Than Organized, all the initials. So that can help you remember that. MOYPMTO. Twitter and Instagram. So follow me over there as well, because I've been doing some fun motivational quotes over on Instagram, and we're getting ready to start sharing some before and after stories on there as well. So there's some cool stuff coming your way if you hang out in my arena. All right, let me just pull this up. Okay, so first question today is from Karen. She says, downsizing many Christmas decorating items. Any suggestions on what to keep and what to donate? Thanks. Well, that entirely depends on you. I am a firm believer in keeping the things that you love. So it depends. I know many people pick up lots of decorations, and some people fill in every year. They get a few more and a few more, and let me buy these ornaments, and oh, isn't this theme nice? I'll get all that. So first off, I would suggest picking your theme. Are you a Santa person? Are you a snowman person? Are you just a red and green person? I like silver and blue with a little bit of clear glass. What is the theme you like best for your holiday? And it doesn't have to necessarily be just one. I have a friend that likes ornaments from the 50s, and I have a friend that likes old Victorian ornaments. So there's different things that you can go to for your theme. And then stick with that. That way, anytime you do bring a new ornament in or a new piece of decorative item for the holiday, it fits into the theme you already have going, so it doesn't feel like you need to fill in as much. It's not like, oh, I have to buy the whole set of something. It's like, well, this piece is new and nice and goes with my stuff. So that's one way. The second way to think about what to downsize is, how much decorating do you still want to do? Sometimes when you have little kids, you end up over decorating because they're in on it and it's very fun. Sometimes as we get older, we don't need as much. How much outside decorating versus inside decorating are you doing? I keep my outside very simple, just a garland with lights on my fence with one wreath and red bows. That's it. And inside, it's, a small tabletop tree, and I hang some garland and ornaments in the window, and that's it. I do a little candlescape on the console table, but other than that, I don't do any other decorating. So pick a theme of your favorites. Pick how much decorating makes you feel cozy and special for the holiday season, if at all. Maybe you want to travel and you don't want any of it. So always get rid of anything that's broken or damaged or doesn't work without the other thing that is broken and damaged, so that you keep just the good stuff. I'm a big fan of the good stuff, the best version of what you can get. And just think about what kind of maintenance do you want? Do you want to have to sweep up pine needles? Do you want a small tabletop tree? Do you want to have just a candlescape and a roaring fire and a couple stockings? Think about what makes you, what's the level, where's the line that changes your everyday decor into something special for the holiday, and go with that. It's a great time to do weed out your decorations and things when you are decorating. Then you can donate the rest, and hopefully you're doing it early enough in the month that people are still looking for holiday ornaments when they go to Goodwill or the thrift store. They aren't real great at taking it in July or a different time of year, but if you do it during the holidays, the donations go to the people that actually want it. The people looking for snowmans are looking now for snowmen in the thrift stores, so it's a great time to go ahead and do the weeding out. Donate it to, the other options for donating are to like art collectives or art spaces, and I don't know. I would just go with your favorite donation spot in general, unless you have a great art collective kind of place. Maybe some schools take it or churches, but I would say just general thrift store, because that's where the people looking for ornaments on the cheap go. All right. Great. I'm glad you're downsizing the Christmas. I think you have a lot of Christmas ornaments, don't you, Karen? Don't you guys do kind of an elaborate thing? Anyway, I hope that helps. Pick a theme, stick with the theme, find your line of where it is the decor, switch into this is now special, and stop at that. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how many of you were on the More Than Organized Monday, but I talked a little bit about decorating that too, and I used the example of one of my clients has over 1,000 Santas, but the way she does it is very simple. She just stacks them into a tree on their own, and that's her decoration. And then she takes it down, and they're all very special, and she weeded out, and she's down to just her favorites, but it's still quite a few Santas. Yeah, and she combines it. So, tree of Santas. Isn't that fun? I have another client that does all nativity scenes and only puts out some nativity scenes. So that's kind of cool too. All right, second question today is from Sarah. And she says, I have boxes of papers and documents from my last job. Some of this stash could be relevant for future work. Can you offer some suggestions for getting started on sorting it out without getting overwhelmed? I'm expecting for it to take a while, and I'm okay with that as long as the sort out doesn't stall out. I have storage space for perhaps 1/3 of the total existing boxes, so I don't need to be totally ruthless, but I do need some dividing lines or criteria to go by. You're good at suggesting those. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. All right, let me think on this for a second, because it is a little bit different spin on this traditional, how do I sort my papers? Because you have a very specific set of papers you're sorting. So that's good, because that'll give us some criteria. Sipping a little coffee here. Okay, I would start by thinking through a little bit, under what circumstances are you going to use any of these papers again? I know this is a situation that many of my clients that are teachers have gone through. They stop teaching one course, and then it's like, do I need to keep it? Will I ever do that training again? Or they might be using new materials and a new curriculum, and then they don't know if they need the old one. So before you even look at the papers, think through a little bit, under what circumstances would I actually need this information again? Are you creating your own business based on the information you used to use at your job? Are you a freelancer that uses that same information over and over and over? Where do you fall in that kind of spectrum? That can help with the first set of criteria. Second set of criteria would be, you can definitely eliminate anything that is proprietary information from that job that you're not allowed to share with others. So for example, many people know I used to work at Crate and Barrel, and I can't use any of the training materials or anything that I developed there for training there, or systems that I used specifically at Crate and Barrel. That wouldn't be cool. I'm not specifically allowed to not use, or not allowed to use them, but it seems like that would be proprietary information. It has their logo on it. I used it to train their people with their systems. That doesn't seem cool. But what I could use from there was the way I scheduled my own time in my job, because I was allowed to create that myself. I knew when to do certain tasks daily and stuff. So I have one calendar page that I used to hang on my wall at my desk that kept me on track. So it was my schedule. So that part I took from that job. That was a scheduling thing I learned while I was there, but it wasn't proprietary. I came up with it myself after going through some trainings. They were great at giving us training on time management and that kind of thing. And it was the end result of that training and how I applied it to myself, if that makes sense. So know the difference between, what you're going to be able to use again, even if you are in a new job. Then think about the redundancy that happens when you are in a job for a long time. So if you were training something or using a form or a procedure, often it evolves over time. And so you end up with, this is how it started, this was what was next. After that, we went to this form and we used this system. And it's the idea of how the system worked, not the actual pieces of paper you used for that system that might be important. And so you may be able to get, also have kind of a piece of paper or a document open on your computer that when you come across those things that are like the concept was what was important and you might want to carry through to the next job, so you just jot down the concept and or a few notes about it and then go ahead and let go of the paper. A lot of times in offices there's some sort of reporting involved, so you get a regular report weekly or daily or monthly or something, and you may have several versions of that. Do you need all the different versions, or do you need the one that helps you remember the idea for anything you take forward with you? Those kinds of things. Do you still need any of the receipts or order forms or that kind of thing that are going to end up in your files, because everybody has those. Intake forms. I don't know what your job is, so I don't know specifically what kinds of things. And then be aware if you had any client documentation or employee documentation that would fall under HIPAA or confidentiality rules or whatever, you need to shred all of that stuff. So make sure you know what that stuff is. You have that criteria really strong in your head before you start, so that you can assemble that. And occasionally people have to return some paperwork to the job they just left because of those rules and regulations. Nobody's perfect. Occasionally that stuff gets misplaced and scooted into the wrong box or drawer, and then you find it when you're actually doing the cleanup. So make sure about that. And then if there's anything like, I think you're a lawyer. Are you a lawyer? I can't remember. But you may have some legal issues with papers that you bring from work as well, in terms of how long they need to be saved for tax purposes or for court purposes. And just know what those are. So you might have a few different piles when you're coming from a job. You might have some stuff to return, some stuff to shred, some stuff to store as an archive and be destroyed on a certain date. And those can be just boxed up and set to the side. I hope that helps. The one other thing I would say is think about the stuff you are keeping. If you're taking it into, I don't know, if you're writing a book or you're going to set up your own business or, those kinds of things. Think through what that looks like and maybe make some sort of an outline or at least some concept notes about what that's going to be. So as you're going through the papers, you are picking the best version of that you have within all that documentation to save. I hope that helps. It's, I would also, all right, so that's the whole criteria thing. Let's talk about the time. I just want to take another sip real quick. Timing on having to do a lot of boxes. Say you have, I don't know, 5 to 30 boxes. You want to say you're going to sit down and you're going to work for either a set amount of time or till I finish the box, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to reel it in. And a really good thing to do, and let me just grab this pile so we can use it as kind of a demo. And I think, if I remember correctly, if I do this, you can see it better. But say this is one of the piles of the stuff you're going to return, and this is the pile of stuff that you're going to store and destroy on a certain date. And then this is the 3 things you're going to use for the new business or your next endeavor. You would then put these into its own box or file, and this pile into its own box and file, and the archive can be set all the way aside. And that way, at the end of the session, you are left with, these are the ones I already went through, and these are the ones I still need to do. And these can go back in the box you were sorting from, and these can go into the box you were sorting to, so that the next time you have that really clearly delineated. And you may want to, anything that's going back somewhere else, you either gather it into a staging area to take all at once, or you take it a little bit at a time, because it is going to take you probably several sessions to get through a large volume of boxes. So set the timer, make sure you have that. This is already sorted, this is not, and it's moving through a flow. It's going from, I'm sorting this box, this is what I'm keeping, and take the trash and the recyclables out between each session. so that you feel like there's less volume at the end of every session. Even if it's not a full bag, I would take it all the way out to your trash can at the curb or down the dumpster or whatever. Just because it helps you see visual progress of there's less and less stuff. And if you know you only have room to store a third of it, I would shoot for going for, I'm going to get it down to one accordion file or something. What are the most important elements and pull the best version of those? Because every single person I've ever helped come from a job, they're going to end up having a bunch of stuff that is redundant and different versions of the same information. So keep in mind that information on the page is what's important, and it's moving through a process. It sounds like you have a pretty good handle on the process, Sarah, but just so you know, from the box that you haven't looked at yet, decision out of the way. Okay, so it's always a flow, always happening. That's how all paper should be for everybody all the time. It's a flow. It comes in, you make a decision, it goes out. Sometimes the decision is it stays in a file drawer for a little while. Sometimes it goes directly in the trash. Sometimes you use it and then it goes in the trash. And then it goes in the file. Whatever your flow is. But papers flow. That's where people go wrong. They think it's just there all the time. Or it's just not there all the time. And that's not true. It actually has a purpose and a lifespan. And so knowing that. I'm just reviewing your question to make sure. All right, so without getting overwhelmed, I think if you have that good, clear idea of what kinds of things you're looking for and that it is a flow and you're going to do it for a set amount of time over a long period of time, and go ahead and block that time out. Right now I am in the process of building my list, and so I have a whole stack of cards that I've never gotten into my database, and it was just not happening, and it was never getting into the rotation of I need to follow up with these people. So I finally decided I'm just going to set 20 minutes a day, and I'm going to enter as many as I can into my database, and then I stop. And so far, so good. I've entered quite a few this week, and it's just been the 4 days. So it gets done a little bit at a time if you set aside 20 to 30 minutes. Actually, I would do, for paperwork, if it's a smaller project like you're doing, it seems huge, but it's not that huge a project. I would probably set aside 90 minutes a day if you can, and if not, some sort of increments of 20 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe 40 minutes. But I would shoot for around 90 minutes if you can. All right, let me just check the various other places that the questions are coming from. This is one of the problems with social media, You end up with quite a few places where the information might be coming from. And I want to make sure that I double check. All right, nothing came in. Oh, wait. Nope, nothing on Instagram. Let's double check the Facebook page. One of these days, this is all going to go smooth and all kinds of people are going to be joining us. Here we are. Look, there I am talking to you right there. I don't see a question. Let me just double check on the other feed to make sure. I've heard there's this weird delay on Facebook. And I feel like the holidays have really put a lot of pressure on the internet. Is it just me? Things seem slow and a little bit gimpy on the internet the last few days. And yeah, no questions coming in, so I'm going to call it at that. Thank you so much. Look for me again next January. What is the date for January? January would be, it's the second Thursday all the time. So for January, it'll be on the 12th. I will be back here again on Facebook Live on the 12th of January answering your questions. Feel free to submit them anytime or join the mailing list, morethanorganized.net. There's several different options for joining the mailing list. And then you'll get a reminder email asking you for the questions the week before the video gets shot. And you can always view the older versions over on the YouTube channel. Just search for More Than Organized on YouTube, and you can check out all the older questions. Several different versions on how to take care of your papers are over there, geared towards specifically asked questions for certain situations. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me and stopping by. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye.